Hello everyone, welcome back. Solid State SR71 here with a review for Aliens Colonial Marines. This game is brought to you by a bunch of studios, probably most of which apparently was Timegate, but it was later picked up by Gearbox in this weird thing that they're getting into. They seem to be a big fan of picking up dying franchises, games that have been sitting around in limbo for years. So this is the newest one, and let's get right into this thing. So let's start off with the presentation. This game is a single-player game, and it also has multiplayer. That we'll get to that later. The single-player portion will take you somewhere around 6 hours to beat, maybe less. It's a pretty short game. I think it's only 10 or 11 missions long, and they're not particularly long, with the only incentive to go back and play through being that there are a good number of collectibles, from dog tags to audio logs to legendary weapons, which again I will hit on later on. Outside of that, you do have the multiplayer that I didn't play at all, but I heard it wasn't particularly good. That shows how good of a reviewer I am. I didn't even touch the multiplayer. Moving right along to the story, this game takes place somewhere in between, I believe, the second and the third movie. To my knowledge, if I'm not getting my Aliens movies mixed up, this game pretty much takes place right after the scene of the second movie. In fact, the first scene of the game, or the second, pretty short on in the game, they show the exact location that the ending of the second movie took place in, and I thought that was interesting, but unfortunately, after the beginning of what seems like, could have developed into some kind of story, the game kind of fizzles out, and the story becomes just a mess. I mean, it's really not a great story. It tells of you and your squad. Basically, you escape your ship, then stuff happens to the ship that you go on to, and then you have to find a way back off the planet. So, I mean, it's a very simple story. It's a story you've probably seen in a bunch of different games, and there's nothing in here that particularly makes this story more interesting than any of those other games. In fact, I would say it's probably worse because it doesn't do a great job of character development, and a lot of the things that could have been interesting that they introduced in the beginning just don't pan out to be all that interesting. So the story is just it's a mess. Moving on to the graphics, this game is, I mean, if this game was released like 10 years ago, maybe it would have looked great, but as it stands now, a lot of the textures look a little bit muddy. The environments look pretty bland. If there's one thing that they did nail, it's the feel of it, the sort of the, I wouldn't say the look, not as in like the actual textures, but the actual look of the levels, the level design, the way that things look very alien-like, which is kind of interesting. I mean, if you're a big fan of the movies, then that's a bit of fan service, and you might feel pretty good about the look of the environments. But once you get past the look of the environments, the rest of it's really just not great, and the explosions and the fire effects and all that just seems very, very dated, and it's not a great looking game by any means, but I could look past that if it weren't for other problems. Moving on to the sound, this is going to be a quick one. The sound's great. The sound is easily the best part of this game. Not only do the weapons have like pretty authentic sounds, like the shotgun sounds like the shotgun in the movie. The pulse rifle pretty much gave me like a nerdgasm when I heard it first. When I was playing, I was like, yeah, they nailed that. They pretty much took it straight from the movie, and I appreciate that. As well, the aliens sound the way they should, and the background music is very good. It's orchestral. It's reminiscent of the movies. That being said, the voice acting ain't great, but aside from the voice acting, the sound in this game is pretty darn good. Moving on to the gameplay, this is the most important part, and this is the part where this entire game falls apart. Let's start talking about this. Where to begin? This game's kind of a mess. It's a first-person shooter, but the problem with the shooting mechanics, the problem begins with the shooting mechanics. So when you aim at an enemy and you start shooting, when you aim down sights, your reticle sways, like your sights sway. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, but the problem is that when you compensate for it, sometimes you'll hit, sometimes you won't. It feels like there's a dice roll going on in the background on whether or not you're going to get a hit. So I bought, you purchase upgrades in this game through challenges. You finish up challenges, and I'll give you upgrade points, and then when you get upgrade points, you can put them into weapon upgrades and different skins. And it sounds all interesting, but it's pretty bare bones. That being said, you purchase the reflex sight, and you can see the little dot. It moves around in circles and stuff, but even when you line it up, it doesn't always hit. So the shooting mechanics at their basics don't work. It feels like it's a very random thing. It feels like there's some dice rolling going on in the background. Does not work very well, and it makes the shooting kind of feel less about skill and more about luck, and you just got to empty a lot of bullets, and it's just kind of ridiculous. The difficulty in this game is fairly easy, but I did have some problems, especially I was playing on the harder difficulties, and I was having quite a bit of trouble, especially with the human enemies. The rifles do a lot of damage, and they shoot rather quickly, and there's not a lot of health. Well, there's a lot of health and armor lying around, but it's not always easy to get enough of it. Outside of that, I mean, the AI is stupid. The AI will stick behind cover, but from time to time they'll just kind of move out and walk into the open area and just wait to be shot. And the aliens just truck towards you in a straight line, pretty much. So they're pretty easy to beat. The cool thing that they did with the aliens is that when you kill them, they do splash damage. So if you're too close, they will damage you slowly over time. But it doesn't make up for the stupid AI. There are collectibles in this game, as I had mentioned earlier. There are dog tags, audio logs, and legendary weapons. Legendary weapons are pretty cool because they are guns ripped straight out of the movie. So the weapons that the people used in the movies are hidden away in the levels. And I use the word hidden lightly. There's not too many hard collectibles to find. They're pretty much in your path, and that's that's another problem with this game, is it's extremely linear. You're pretty much following a small path down small hallways, and you're just shooting, and it's just very mindless, very boring, and there's not all that much to do in this game. So to sum it up, this game is just awful. This is one of the first games in a very long time that I've taken back because I just didn't want it anymore, and I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt because I'm not I like to judge games when I get them, and I'll find something to like in every game. Unfortunately, this game, there was not much. There's the first half hour, there's a lot of first person like cutscene action, and I thought that was really cool. But then they totally dropped that, and I just completely lost interest in the game after the first hour, and it just dragged on for 6. And I have nothing I don't have anything remotely good to say about this game. If you guys are thinking about picking it up, don't. Just save your money, spend it somewhere else. If you can find it for like $5 at some point, I guess if you're one of those like trophy or achievement whores, do it. But otherwise, stay clear of this game. You won't regret missing it. Thank you guys for watching. I guess I should probably give this a score. Probably like a 3.5 if I had to give it a score. I mean, it has the sound and the look feel very Aliens-like, and I respect that. But the gameplay just drags this down to the pits of hell. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.